don't get it, and if we don't get it, and if we don't get it, shut it down! Shut it down! Shut it down! Shut it down! Good evening, sisters, brothers, and siblings. My name is Carrington Scott. I'm with the People's Power Assembly, and I'm also a worker at the Walters Art Museum, a member of the Walters Workers United. I'll be your MC for today, and I would like to start off with why we're here and also some demands that the People's Power Assembly sent to BPD and the city government demanding action against the racist police terror that's been happening around the city. So we're here today because BPD is absolutely incapable of doing anything but continuing the racist oppression of minorities and oppressed peoples while protecting the profits of the capitalist class and the people that control the red lines and everything that keeps infrastructure and investment out of Black communities. We're here to demand the end to racist police terror. We're here to demand community control. We're here to demand that Black people, not only here in the city, as an example, can be here in the city, but nationwide have the right to self-determination and the right to demand and determine what they need in order to survive. Not what the capitalist class, not what the billionaires deem that we need to survive, but what we actually deem we need to survive. And that also is community control policing, how we want to keep our community safe, not how the gentrifiers, the redliners, the genociders want to keep our community safe. And with that, I'd like to read the demand that the People's Power Assembly laid out in the city. The people of Baltimore City are tired of police that view the Black community as a hostile force and opt for violence against mentally ill individuals rather than opting for de-escalation or mental health programs. More than ever, the people of Baltimore have questions and require answers. To that effect, the Baltimore People's Power Assembly demands 1. A full and transparent people's investigation into the recent deaths of Baltimore residents at the hands of the Baltimore Police Department. Neighborhood committees should be formed to review the actions of the police in recent in-custody deaths and the general use of force against the community. Such neighborhood committees must be representative of the neighborhood's demographic, specifically representation of the Black community who is disproportionately targeted by racist police brutality must be ensured. The neighborhood committees should be empowered to conduct a complete review of all in-custody deaths. This authority should include the ability to review and analyze all BPD case files, interview witnesses and community members, subpoena Baltimore City police officers and other law enforcement officials to provide testimony on their policies and conduct, develop recommendations to prevent further police killings, and ensure community control of crucial public safety institutions. The second point is once the investigation is complete and the neighborhood committees have provided recommendations, those committees should retain hiring and firing power over officers stationed in the relevant neighborhoods. Point number 3, the Baltimore Police Department will immediately remove all officers from employment who have records of brutality to any degree. Point number 4, the Baltimore Police Department will prohibit the practice of officers wearing plain clothes and using unmarked vehicles while on duty. And point number 5, the Baltimore Police Department will expand mental health crisis intervention services immediately. With that, I'd like to get started by introducing Tanya Jones. The whole reason we're out here for this joint rally with PPA and West Wednesday Coalition to talk about Tyrone West and also more against racist police terror. Thank you.
Mic check.
So again, I'm so glad I have so to people power anybody, not that anybody is trying to interrupt. So every week that I in 600 for 25 weeks and on Friday 12 years of my brother's generation. And I felt compelled to come down here and tell workers That's why I'm always talking. Working is more a piece of my mind. I hope he come outside. The living gonna go up and see that. Because this is saying like you ain't victim after victim first. You wasn't even over. What happened to the line? What was the line? Still not in the community. And which he served in a good way. And all that wonderful stuff. And if he gunned down shot 38 times, at what point did those killer cops feel safe? After the 38 bullets? Like make it make sense. And then if that wasn't enough, you turn around and you go and you execute a 70-year-old that you've been to your house over 20 times.
Shame.
At what point was y'all gonna get it like God's not? And then it was another brother shot for a crazy shot remind me of my brother. Literally smothered himself, brutalized, executed for no damn reason, driving black in a murder. And it says driving black in a murder should not be a death sentence. And that's why I'm out here to say what I gotta say, the words of school. And I know he's probably watching my live stream. If he can't hear my voice, you are a worthless piece of crap. That's why we did not want you to be the top. That is disgusting. And then the fact that you come out and every time you come address these hurting families, you come out and you pretty much just disrespect them. You pretty much disrespect every family member, the community and everything, and you always get the killer cop free really can't kill. No matter if you see the video footage or anything, we still don't see the uncut video footage of the live. We still don't know what the officer was saying to the live. Don't think y'all can just show us everything and just close the book. It does not work like that. It is disgusting. This system is so dirty. But this is a lot going on, and today I really feel good because I have literally seen a white serial killer for 39 years today, not for murdering myself and taking my name, but for the gun that murdered me. You know, that was taking destruction, but I'm glad that we can share a piece of accountability. You know, at the end of the day, it could have been worse than that. This stuff could have doubted it. It's so we got 4 more murder trials coming up. Literally. Like 3 more, my cousin was 4 and he had a sister, but so you gotta get violent serial killer innocent that was killing people and the news is not talking about. But yet you wanna always put all this foolishness on. It's just like what happened with these so-called testers that were killing people and that the drug overdose. That's what I'm referring to. That was intentionally done. That was intentionally done. That wasn't just over. That was done. And it was done in that community of the black people that had boots on the ground, that was standing out, stepping forward for the loud and true, and all the ills in the world. What you do, you still want to get haters to go serve taxes that you know is going to wipe people out. It is sad the stuff is going on. But if y'all see 625 weeks, I ain't going nowhere. I ain't going nowhere. You can't pay me out. You can't sell me out. I will never sell my soul to the devil. And that's what this dirty system is. It's the devil. It's the highway of hell. And that's what they try to do, confuse us, try to make it seem like community violence is over here, police brutality is over here, no ways. All of this together to the highway of hell is designed to wipe us out. So the day I stay here with my brothers and sisters, one cause, one purpose, one fight. Until we get it, we're gonna shut it down. Our voices. Y'all may have the weapons, but we had a voice. And I'm glad that, and I'll end on this note real quick. But I'm so glad that finally, after a whole decade of telling y'all the medical examiner's office was deliberately lied on my brother, and it wasn't, and I don't just talk about my brother, I talk about all the victims. I said literally they lied and said stuff about Antoine Black, and the list goes on. It's sad and disgusting. You were lying. And now their dirt is being unraveled as we're speaking. And I can't wait till they reopen my brother's case and put all them damn killers in a cell block. We can't stop. And so killers stop in cell block. Like that.
Let's go.
Tell the truth and stop the lies.
Tell the truth and stop the lies.
Tyrone West didn't have to die.
Tyrone West didn't have to die.
Tell the truth and stop the lies.
Tell the truth and stop the lies.
Dante Melton didn't have to die.
Milton Bobby didn't have to die.
Peter Carson Brooks didn't have to die.
Brooks didn't have to die.
B.J. Abdullah didn't have to die.
BJ Abdullah didn't have to die.
Freddie Gray didn't have to die.
Freddie Gray didn't have to die.
Cell blocks for killer cops.
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 Thank you. Next, we'll have Adina Brooks, another member of the West Wednesday Coalition. Oh, sorry. Adina Britt, my bad, with the West Wednesday Coalition. I want to start with a chant too. Hey, hey, ho, ho, where's this worldly's got to go?
Hey, hey, ho, ho. Where this worldly's got to go? Hey, hey, ho, ho. Where this worldly's got to go? Hey, hey, ho, ho.
All right, so I haven't been on the mic in a while, but since then, they've been continuing to kill people. Dante Mountain, the story with him is sad because he actually went up to a police car asking them for help. It wasn't a traffic stop. He actually walked up to a police car asking for help. It was the hottest day that was like the first hottest day of this year. And it was like still like near 90 degrees at night because it happened at night. They hog-tied him when he was adamant about receiving help. They hog-tied him. And that is literally the same kind of position that they had Tyrone in. And he suffocated. And then they were apparently calling for medics. And they waited over an hour before they decided to transport him to the hospital. Police should not be involved in mental health cases whatsoever. In fact, police cause mental health cases. And half of them, if not more, need mental health services themselves because they are unhinged hyenas out there trying to just kill people. And then there has definitely got to be a tie between what was happening with BJ, with Miss Brooks, and Mr. Melton, because when they came out, that community came out and marched for BJ. I guarantee some of the people in that crowd were ODing on that corner just weeks later. So it's just like, well, when we go out there and we shoot them, they get pissed. So why don't we just put some tainted testers out there? That's what I think happened. No drug dealer is going to kill his clientele and cut his money source off. Come on. Like, we need to think about this logically. And let's talk about Worley. Worley should not have a job right now. Worley was the commander of the Northeast District. Like, when the gun trace task force was formed, it was formed over there. The gun trace task force was not disbanded, despite what they want to fucking tell you. It was not disbanded. They started calling them district action teams. And when they became a problem because they shot that young boy in his back who survived, and they were shooting more people, they call them something else now. They don't call them district action teams. They just rebrand. Change the name, keep the criminals out there on the streets killing people. We went to every single community meeting that they had 2 years ago before they were going to make this Yahoo the commissioner. We tried to warn all of these different neighborhoods. We were over west. We were over south. We went to every single one of those meetings. I handed out information. This is what he was responsible for in the Northeast District. I even put them in mailboxes. I went on by myself and put them in people's mailboxes, telling them about Worthy. He's racist.
He's from Anne Arundel County. And then we need to explore if he ever moved into the city, because I don't think he ever did. They just dropped that story. And he is supposed to live in city limits, but he is a racist. Because when Papa LaPere was murdered, it turned out that guy was a serial rapist, and he was terrorizing people in the community. But the other people were not white. So he victim blamed them. He attacked the victims. And then he did the same thing this year. He victim blamed. He victim blamed BJ. He victim blamed Dante Mountain. He victim blamed Miss Brooks. And like the woman said last night at City Hall during their public safety hearing, which is a joke because they literally took all the teeth out, and they're not left. They don't have the PAB having subpoena power like they did the CRB, and they're disbanding the CRB. So the lady said, y'all had 20-something opportunities to help that woman. He wants to go out there and say, we responded to her house over 20 times. Okay, well, that's not her fault. If she is suffering from mental health issues, that's not her fault. And there are resources up in her community that they could have guided her towards, and they did not do that. They failed her. They failed her, and then they killed her. They were outside her house for a half hour contemplating what they were going to do. And then they got tired of waiting. What does that sound like? Corinne Gaines. That sounds just like Corinne Gaines. All of these cases wind up sounding like each other because they use the same playbook. But he has the gall, when it is a person of color, to blame the victim. He's racist and he has to go. Worley does not deserve to be commissioner. And there are so many resources out there that they should be utilizing and they don't. They should not be handling mental health cases. In fact, most of them are mental health cases. So we need Worley out. We need comprehensive change. In fact, I'd love to just disband this freaking racist institution. Just abolish police, abolish ICE, and just get these people out and then prosecute the ones who are killers. Bernardes Ruiz, who was one of the main killers of Tyrone West, makes more than the mayor because he's a sergeant. He was elevated, and it really feels like BPD elevates you up in rank depending on how many bodies you have. This man doesn't have 10 complaints against him. He doesn't have 20 complaints against him. He has close to 50 complaints against him. And that's the ones that we can find out about. And they're always letting him, and he's married to a state's attorney. This is why Ivan Bates will not reopen Tyrone's case. Conflict of interest. The conflict of interest is in his office. You can fire one person to prosecute 17. Mm-hmm. Hey, ho, ho. Worthless Worley's got to go. Hey, ho, ho. Worthless Worley's got to go. Hey, ho, ho. Worthless Worley's got to go. Fire Miss Battle, Bernardes Ruiz, if you will. Fire her. Reopen his case. If not, let the AGs handle it. Because they need to be prosecuted. Mic check.
Mic check.
Real quick, I just wanted to say tonight that the ACLU gave a damning report. That was when my cousin Tavon Anderson was killed, and it was on the week. He had over 3,600. My sister just said 50. He had over 3,600 complaints on him.
Shame.
And then also when Commissioner Worthless Worley was promoted in the office, let's never forget Brooklyn Home. He told them to stand down and let people get murdered. 2 people get murdered and over 30-something people shot. Shame.
Shame.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Next, we have Jess with the People's Power Assembly.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jess, and I'm with the People's Power Assembly. As we gather here once again in solidarity with the families and friends of those who have been terrorized, brutalized, and murdered by the most profoundly racist dividers of our communities, otherwise known as the Baltimore Police Department, I would like to really expose how the same tactics of police terror used to brutally repress and surveil our poor working class communities right here in Baltimore are the same exact tactics used on poor working class communities all over the country. Because we know that the universal slogan of the police is to protect and serve. Protect and serve who exactly? They didn't protect and serve Sandra Bland. This past Sunday, July 13th, was the 10th anniversary of her murder at the hands of Waller County, Texas police in 2015. She was a 28-year-old Black woman and a Prairie View A&M graduate who was stopped by killer cop Brian Insignia for driving while Black. She was then arrested for assaulting an officer when the dash cam footage showed the exact opposite. They assaulted her. 3 days later, she was found dead in her jail cell, and the county immediately ruled it as suicide when we knew the damn truth. She was killed by state violence. Brian Insignia ultimately was only charged with perjury about Sandra's arrest. Sandra Bland should still be here today.
That's right.
The police didn't protect and serve George Floyd, 46-year-old Black man who was murdered in Indianapolis 5 years ago on May 25th, 2020, as we all know, during a literal global health crisis by killer cop Derek Chauvin, who is currently serving a 22.5-year prison sentence, but may end up being presidentially pardoned by Trump in the near future. May this day never come to the man who forcibly knelt on Floyd's neck for almost 10 minutes straight while Floyd was screaming out, "I can't breathe," while being filmed. We will never forget the outrage we all felt that year, watching the notoriously racist Chief Medical Examiner of Maryland, David Fowler, give testimony during Chauvin's trial, asserting that George Floyd died of a heart attack. Which gave the ultra-reactionary far right all the fuel they needed to start spewing racist lies about him being a drug addict and that because of that he deserved to die.
Shame.
George Floyd should still be here today. They certainly didn't protect and serve Michael Brown, an 18-year-old Black man from Ferguson, Missouri, who over 10 years ago on August 9, 2014, was walking along the street with his friend Dorian when they were both pulled up on by killer cop Darren Wilson, who told them to get back on the sidewalk. When they contested this BS command, Wilson then struck Mike with his car door, grabbed him by the neck, and then fired his gun twice, shooting Mike's right hand. After they attempted to run away, Mike was shot by the cop multiple times, ultimately killing him. The media and state spread many vicious lies about Brown to justify the murder. Michael Brown should still be here today. And they certainly didn't protect and serve Corinne Gaines, 23-year-old Black woman and mother of two from Randallstown, who was shot and killed by Baltimore County Police 9 years ago on August 1st, 2016. They also shot her 5-year-old son, Cody, but he survived, leaving him and his sister without a mother. They were serving her with a warrant for petty misdemeanors, but she did not want to abandon Cody by giving herself over to the state, so she denied them entry. Later, they came back after failing to enter with a key provided by the landlord. They kicked the door in and fatally shot Gaines in her own home. And then in 2019, Baltimore County Circuit Court Judge Mickey Norman overturned a $37 million award from a jury to Corinne's family for her wrongful death, and instead asserted that the cop who killed Gaines was entitled to qualified immunity. Corinne Gaines should still be here today. Now, that's only 4 examples out of countless, and I do mean countless, other people whose lives were abruptly ended by killer cops and the injustice system backing them, predominantly Black and brown people. So, who do the police really protect and serve? The very original function of the police in the U.S. was slave patrols, catching any slaves who were escaping the living hell that was their brutal occupation on plantations in the South. These patrols existed only to protect and serve the wealth of the slave owners. So if slaves escaped, this in turn jeopardized the slave owners' profits. And the police we see today are virtually no different from the slave patrols of the late 18th, mid-19th century. They only exist to protect the property and wealth of the ruling class that was never even theirs to begin with, that being the capitalists, mega corporations, and billionaires, all making our lives a living hell by any means necessary. The police continue to terrorize and separate Black and brown families through mass incarceration and deportations. They continue to manufacture consent and justifications for why Black and brown individuals deserve to be murdered by police, keeping white folks divided from these communities using white supremacist tactics of the fear of the other, rather than uniting together on the basis of class against these racist police and the ruling class. It was never about protecting and serving the people. It was always about protecting and serving the ruling class and upholding a system that is not flawed or broken, as many often claim, but rather a system that is working exactly as it's intended to run. The solution couldn't be more clear. Cell blocks for killer cops.
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 We must abolish the police. The recent struggles against ICE, police, and military occupation from the people in LA this year alone have proven that we are more than capable of protecting and serving our own community. Together, we will continue to fight back against these attacks by BPD and make our demands of BPD and worthless Commissioner Worley materialize, because we know that the people united will never be defeated.
That's right.
Justice for Tyrone West, justice for Bilal Abdullah, justice for Peter Carter Brooks, justice for Dante Melton, justice for Jeffrey Kluger, down with the police occupation of Baltimore, down with Commissioner Worley. Solidarity to you all. Thank you.
No justice!
No peace.
No racist!
Police.
No justice!
No peace.
No racist!
Police.
Next, we'll have Ms. Joyce with the PPA.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. My name is Joyce Butler, and I'm an organizer with the People's Power Center. I wanted very much to speak today about what Black and brown communities of Baltimore need and what we don't need. A few weeks ago, PPA organizers, myself included, spent some time talking to members of the Upton community after plainclothes officers fired 38 rounds into the body of BJ Abdullah, executing him. This is just another dead Black man at the hands of a system that is only interested in investing in police at all levels of society. What we heard in the community wasn't a desire for more cops on the street or more surveillance of our lives. We heard that the community wants jobs, control over its own security, investment back in the avenue market, community centers, and the schools. The people of Baltimore, we're tired, y'all. We're tired of billions of dollars for killer cops. Our people lack housing, healthcare, and a way to feed their own families. We are tired of racism. We are tired of police terror. We need a system that invests in unity and jobs, hospitals, and free education for all. We need the city of Baltimore, the state of Maryland, to fund the people, not racism. Cell blocks for killer cops. I'll say it again.
Cell blocks for killer cops! Cell blocks for killer cops! Yeah, when Black lives are under attack, what do?
Stand up, fight back.
When Black lives are under attack, what do?
Stand up, fight back.
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 What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
Thank you, everybody. Next, we'll have Shorty giving us one hell of a talk.
Mic check.
Oh, my God. All right, my name's Shorty. I came here straight out the Illinois Department of Corrections in 1991. So I'm not a Baltimore City resident. I'm an implant. I'm an implant. So I know about your policing and your police department. On October 15th, 2010, Baltimore City Police Department came to my house and put guns in my head. I was making a documentary about this. I was making a documentary about their police and their police department. Governor O'Malley, Mayor O'Malley, he approved the program in 2006, except he didn't know it was about him.
the gun task force and all that, before it was the Tyrone West, man, it could have been me. The only reason that they didn't kill me because I had people in my house. I had 4 other individuals. I had some kids because I was running a homeless shelter. Now we talking about murder and death in America. I was born in 1959. I've been watching you, America, kill black people all my life.
Yes.
Tyrone West, have you ever heard of Emmett Till?
Yes.
What's the difference between Emmett Till and Tyrone West?
There is none.
Time. Time is the only difference between Emmett Till and Tyrone West. What's the difference between Emmett Till and Sandra Bland? Time. The only thing is time. And it's time for y'all to stand up. You're talking about the here and now, but yesterday made this happen. Your parents knew about this. Your grandparents participated in this. I'm 65 and I'm still alive. I'm a child of the struggle. When Martin and Malcolm was doing their thing, I was throwing rocks at police in 68.
Talk.
When Fred Hampton got killed, man, I was trying to protect my community. You kill activists. The only reason I'm still alive is I don't know how to shut the fuck up. I don't run from the police. When I walk in the room, they run from me. You don't get no reputations for whooping midgets and old people. I'm both. All right? I'm both. And ain't nobody in this crowd ever seen me run from nobody. When I step up to the microphone, I got something to say, and you pay attention, and I ain't Ian Hutton. Anybody know who Ian Hutton is? That's telling your age. All right? That's telling your age. When you invest in me, I invest in you because I stand behind anybody that's doing positive in Baltimore. Right. Anybody that stand up against police brutality, I'm there. But the one that needed help, I stood up, toe to toe. I didn't ask for nothing. I don't do this for money. I do this for change. We got too many self-serving demigods that do this for money. When Freddie Gray got killed, how many people got rich? How many people got rich? I lost $260,000. I went from $260,000 a year to zero. If you Google search toilet bomber, I put a toilet in front of the Towson courthouse because I got tired of that shit. If you look over there behind there on the corner, I'm still fucking with toilets because I'm tired of that shit. You see President Trump? They sent the Secret Service after me. I got a Secret Service file. I got a Department of Justice file. I got an FBI file. So the same thing they did to Martin and Malcolm, I did to them. I got a Department of Justice file on the Department of Justice. I got the Secret Service number on my fucking phone. And I have witnesses right here that'll tell you everything I'm telling you is true to word. I don't just run my mouth. I educate. I uplift. I encourage. I inspire. That's what an activist is supposed to do. Mike check!
Mike check!
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Cell blocks for killer cops.
Cell blocks for killer cops.
Next, we'll have Lee Patterson with the BPA. Brothers and sisters, it gives me great joy to speak to my people, the oppressed, the workers, and the disabled, and all of us out here. There's a war going on in this country, not only against the people who are in the projects and in the hood. This untaxed snakes of America, KKK, is at war with the world. They take money, they take human needs and everything away to finance the military, the same military that they represent. These people are power hungry bastards. They don't care about the people who are on the streets like us. They don't care about the homeless. They don't care about the unemployed. Poverty makes these people money. They get rich off of our poverty. It's time for us to stop traffic, stop everything, and stop this system from killing folks. The Palestinians, people who take up for the Palestinians, are called anti-Semites. Anti-Semites are not Semites against white people. There's no such thing. Semites are black and brown people. There's no such thing as anti-Semitism against white people. But they would have all of us, people in mind believe that bullshit. It's time for us people to wake up and not only just wake up, but take power. It's time for us people to take power away from these fascists. Anti-gay bigotry is at an all-time high. We got to stand up and show solidarity with our LGBTQ brothers and sisters. Because it's time for us to stand up and show our power. We have much more power than any of these bastards have. It's time for us to make ourselves known. Stand up, fight back, power to the people,
Power to the power.
and power to our clique. Thank you. From Baltimore to Palestine,
Baltimore to Palestine.
occupation is a crime.
Occupation is a crime.
From Baltimore to Palestine,
From Baltimore to Palestine.
occupation is a crime.
Occupation is a crime.
Next, we'll have Dan with the West Wednesday Coalition speak.
All right. We all we got?
We all we
We
need.
all we got?
We all we need.
All right. All peace and blessings to everybody. I can't start without honoring our Queen, Tawanda Jones, for all the hard fighting and fortitude. It's unbelievable that she's kept up this fight. I know it's out of love, and that's where she comes from. I don't always come from there when I in this fight, but she's an inspiration to me, and I just can't say being in this fight with you hasn't been one of the most important. immeasurable things. That we were at the hearing yesterday, and one of the things we said, well, we'd like our city attorney to prosecute some of these cases, because, and they didn't explain this, because there's a conflict of interest. The conflict of interest is that the city attorney in the legal office represents the Baltimore City Police Department.
That's right.
They don't have to do that. They are not required to represent the city police department. As a matter of fact, they could actually be sitting across the table from the FOP, and fuck the FOP, by the way. They're complicit as well. That they could be representing us against the police, not representing them. So there's this whole army, there's this whole system that's making sure the police knows whatever they do, however far they go, for whatever means they think they can go, how brazen they are, is supported by all these motherfuckers. Supported by them. So we need to tear all these things down and start over. Tear it down, start over, get rid of this mess we are in. Because harm is happening, and I'm not mostly to people of my color, of my complexion, but harm is happening to brown and black residents constantly. If it's not harassment, it's bodily harm. And this can no longer stand. So that's really all I have to say. I just wanted to say that. And thank you all for coming and listening. And I appreciate all of you.
Woo! Next, we'll have Charlene with the West Wednesday Coalition.
Thank you for giving me this time to speak. I ain't gonna hold you long, I think. But I want to talk about the meeting that, so-called meeting that took place yesterday. But let's just back it up. I'm gonna speak, my piece over 3 community members killed by police in 8 days.
Shame. Shame.
Black people that look like me. The woman, Miss Brooks, 70 years old. I got cousins that's 70 years old. I have friends that's close to her age. When that happened, so first of all, we can back up to Bilal, DJ. This killer already touched off and triggered a whole lot of emotions, and his people being upset, hurt, traumatized, feeling divided. So you already had that going on. Then you have 2 more individuals, and their backstory is that their families advocated for their health. And as it was stated, as we know, that with Ms. Brooks, there were 20 opportunities to get it right, to get her help, because she was surrounded. And for that to be where she loses her life over what? Like the comfort that is being displayed in killing black folks unfettered, unchecked, to make everybody hella uncomfortable. And I'm not just talking about you fellas out here and ladies, because you're out there, you already know. But when I go to City Hall, to sitting in a hearing, knowing that this was going to be a discussion among people that I run with, talk to, connect with, and what we got, first and foremost, let's talk about the fact that there was so many people that showed up that for a minute, for a while, that we couldn't even get in, because I was one of 30 other people that couldn't get in initially. So even that treatment of not being able to accommodate or not willing to accommodate, because they know this was coming. Because again, 3 people, 3 black individuals, somebody's grandmother, somebody's father, somebody's son, somebody's daughter got killed by supposedly people that attacked and served us. So again, we are over police and underprotected. And now we just killing us because they
don't feel like doing the work. The hard work. Well, over in Remington, he had a white man that had a mental health crisis. And they took all the time that it take to talk him down. And he gets to live to tell live another day to tell the story. Now we talk about funerals. Well, I was buried in 5 days. This Brooks having has a viewing tomorrow. So her homecoming, her funeral is gonna be this Friday. And the fact I'm just trying to like find my words because again, we're not just talking about okay names. These are individuals. These are souls. These are people that look like me. That at one point were in the community with people I spent time with, and they're gone. They're gone. And no, but no, I'm not gonna be silent. Hell no, I'm not gonna be silent. Because again, everybody should be very uncomfortable. From the headquarters to City Hall, especially City Hall. Because what, we got a new council president, brand new, who's supposed to be doing the work of trauma and healing. He was nowhere to be found yesterday, folks. He was not there. Shame. And if somebody said he was, I'm like, I didn't see him. My people didn't see him. We testified. And the fact that you can have someone like Mark Conway who's like, okay, try to go around and give you little soft words. But what the people took, the folks that I know that were there, when they were said and done, they felt like they were ignored. They felt like there was no damn urgency in the situation. And then three black people got killed by police in 8 days. Shame! And we're not supposed to be passionate about that. We're not supposed to be upset about that. We should be fucking up this city right now. Oh, yes, I can say okay, I'm great that we had 68 homicides. That's not I've never experienced it before. Yes, we can sit back and say, okay, something that's happening. But it can't be where we voice that and forget about the fact or trying to minimize the fact that great black people that belong to us, that was doing work among us, that belong to us, got killed by police in 8 days. In a particular area. We're not talking about, okay, that was over northeast, northwest, southeast. That was only one section. And how are we supposed to feel about that? How am I supposed to feel about that? So I went on record. I went on record saying what I had to say. That this is an urgency. We can't kick this can down the road. There's an urgency in which people got to show up and say something, put some heat on it. I don't give a damn if it wasn't the time for that. Every day is the time for that because people are traumatized. Living under trauma. Right. So what I've been doing this, what, 12 years, 13 years? I'm not sure I got it. 12 years. Feels like forever. Forever. And she has the courage to stand with us and support to keep doing it. But then we've been adding numbers. There have been people that's been showing up who have experienced something. And then when there's no help, there's no advocacy, they end up disappearing some kind of way. And then we see violence in our community because there's no help and there's no hope. What I'm asking for, no, I'm not even asking, I'm commanding that city councils take this seriously. I testified to have local control with police department. Testify on that. And went through some hell for that. And we get it, and we still got them getting killed. What the hell are we doing? What is this? What, do you need people in suits and pumps and stuff to come out here and keep marching and shutting stuff down? That's what it's going to take us seriously? I don't know what to say. I'm just going to hear ranting. But I have to put it out there because we have to keep telling the story. Because they're trying to bury it. That's what they're trying to bury the story. When I saw yesterday, I'm like, everybody not out there mad. The only hype man I got was Shorty. I appreciate him for being my hype person. But we cannot just let it let it die. We got to build a live, and we got to keep going, bring people to it. Who's talking to us? This is all social media. And somebody tell me, we did something nice. It's like, yeah, but what about justice for the people that you killed? That you're allowed to be killed at this point. That you're not saying anything and you're not doing anything. And there's not even a date on the hearing that Zeke Cohen's supposed to have. No date. Yeah. And I know some of the people that's supposed to be connected to him. And I hope they're listening. Tell that man to get a check together like next week. He got 48 hours to respond. Oh, we're taking on the door. Mike check.
Mike check.
I feel the rain droplets coming down, so we're gonna get. I'm not gonna do any chants in between. We're gonna have Brian with the West Wednesday Bulletin. I have to remember the name. I'm sorry.
Always come under there.
Yes, we can.
Fine.
Thank you, Juana. Thank you for Pew Power for helping us out with this. I just got two things I want to say. One is that one of my usual things that I do with this here with Wednesday is read off a list of people who died by homicide in our community. Just put those names up. This past week, no one died by homicide here in Baltimore. And I want to tell you that the police had absolutely nothing to do with that.
That's right. That's right.
This is what we need to get in our heads is that our safety does not come from people outside our community with guns. It comes from people in our community with love for each other and with solidarity with each other. And that's what keeps the safety in our community. And so we just forget this whole police thing. I'm done with that. The other thing I want to do is just a quick announcement or a quick message. Anyone who's interested in the struggle for liberation needs to read a book by John Holloway called How to Change the World Without Taking Power. He's a Marxist, he's an anarchist, he writes some of the best stuff I've ever read about what it is that we need to do to make change in this world. So thank you.
Woo! Next, we'll have Alec with the People's Power Assembly.
Thanks, everybody. My name is Alex Summerfield. I'm an attorney with the People's Power Assembly. First, I wanted to thank the West Coalition in Towanda. Again, I know we've all been each other a lot, but we have to do this, y'all. We've got to stick together. It's the only way we're going to win if we stick together. Because otherwise, we're just, excuse my French, we're just so much shit. But we have to stick together. So I'm so glad today people brought up David Fowler and the medical examiner. Because this has been a disease, no pun intended, a disease at the core of the city since he moved here from apartheid South Africa in 1991. And so many organizations and other attorneys and activists have been screaming about this guy and the terrible racist regime that he implemented on this city, rubber stamping the murders of people like Tyrone West, rubber stamping the murders of people like Anton Black. And we have to take the fight to these people however we can, whether it's in the streets or the courts or city hall. We have to use every tool at our disposal because they deserve no peace until we have justice. And the last thing I'll say is many cases, thankfully, were reopened through this recent investigation, but hundreds of cases were not, including Carlin Barnes, whose mother came by here quickly but had to go, who was essentially murdered in the Harper County Jail and never really investigated. After he was killed, Miss Maryland could not even see his body or get a death certificate until she got an attorney. This is a disgrace, and this is the sort of disgrace Black
How do you spell racist? BPD. How do you spell murderer?
BPD.
How do you spell racist?
BPD.
How do you spell murderer?
BPD.
I want to start by having us all uphold and honor the
3 lives that were stolen by police, most recently in Baltimore. You can repeat the names after me. Bilal Abdullah.
Bilal Abdullah.
Dante Melton.
Dante Melton.
Miss Brooks.
Miss Brooks.
Thank you, everybody. As horrible and as tragic as the stealing of those lives is, unfortunately, it's only the tip of the iceberg. During the 17 years that Val Fowler was the head of the medical examiner's office, guess how many people died in police custody in the state of Maryland? 1,300. 1,300. Now, we tend to be focused on the police murders, but there's a lot of police violence that does not end in death, but it ends up in pain, in hospitalization, in damaged families, and sometimes we don't think about how many cases there are. But it turns out, in a year, in the United States, there are 300,000 cases of non-lethal violence used by the police. 300,000. For each person they killed, about 250 were assaulted by the police.
Shame.
So that means 31 people an hour. During the time of this rally, the police have assaulted about 62 people around the United States.
Shame.
Now, I'd like to tie together community violence and police murder. Some of you may know of a writer named Frantz Fanon. And Frantz Fanon, he was doing his training to be a psychiatrist in Algeria during the War for Independence from France. And he came to the conclusion that if you take a section of the population and you treat them to the most police brutality, the worst education, the most unemployment, the least accessible food, you slap them in the face every possible way. He says people treated like that get angry and get bitter. But until they have political awareness, they don't realize the source of their mistreatment. And so their bitterness causes them to lash out at the closest, most vulnerable target. Often people in the community in the same boat that they're in. So in other words, what's the root of community violence? The root of it is racism.
Yes.
It's important to keep that in mind. What's the root of police brutality? Racism. And so in that sense, police brutality and community violence are really two sides of the same coin. And when anyone says, well, why are you in just this fight or why are you in just that fight? It's the same fight. About a year after the killing of Tyrone West, the city put together what they called an independent review panel to supposedly reinvestigate the police killing of Tyrone West. One of the members of that committee was a lawyer. And 8 years later, after the killing of George Floyd, it inspired her to reconsider her participation on that independent review panel. And she wrote a letter to the Sun. I want to read you a little of it. She says, I know that West, that is to say Tyrone West, died much like Floyd, because in 2014, I was a member of the 6-person independent review panel, the IRP, assembled by the Baltimore mayor and police commissioner, who tasked us with reviewing West's death in police custody. It was, she said, it was a useless exercise that to me merely gave cover to the department and the state's attorney at the time for their decision to forego prosecution of the officers who killed West. Those decisions were actually made before the IRP was assembled and began its work. We were given a one-sided story and had no investigative power. And so I want to talk now about the difference between reform and revolution in the fight against police brutality. I think any step we can take that may save a life from the police killers, even if it's a reform and it doesn't totally solve the problem, is a good thing. We should fight for that. But on the other hand, we should keep in mind what's the actual role of the police. Someone earlier mentioned they originated as slave catchers. But it goes deeper than that. The police are one part of state power. The other parts are the courts, the jails, and the government. Those four things put together are called state power. And a pretty insightful guy named Lenin once defined state power. He said state power is organized violence for the suppression of a class. So what's an example of that? We don't see the police killing rich people. And I want to tell a little story to illustrate the nature of class power and class oppression. It used to be in Baltimore, we had Bethlehem Steel, a major factory and shipbuilding facility. Well, on the average, a worker would die at that facility once a month. And most of that was safety related. For example, if you're working on the side of a ship and you're welding and you're 30 feet in the air and you're standing on a platform, is that okay? Can you hear me okay? You're standing on a platform, the safety rules of Bethlehem Steel says there has to be a safety railing behind you so you don't fall off the platform and die. But Bethlehem Steel said, well, it's too much money. We're not doing that. So because of that cavalier attitude of Bethlehem Steel, as I said, about a worker would die once a month. Now, if you went to the police and said, we want you to lock up, charge, and prosecute the local head of Bethlehem Steel for murder, they would laugh at you. But if the workers went on strike demanding safety, and then the court gave a subpoena and said you can't have more than 2 pickets at a picket line, the cops would be there to lock people up. And that's an example of what I mean. That is to say, the police, as part of the state, represent organized violence for the suppression of a class. So our work is important. Anything we win is wonderful. We should fight like hell. But let's remember, as long as we have this capitalist system and it's their state and the police are part of organized violence to suppress the working class, we're not going to be able to solve this problem. So I'm a member of the Progressive Labor Party. It's a communist party. We believe in revolution to overthrow this system. And short of that, we are not going to be able to eradicate police violence. And we don't want our children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren to be having to fight this same fight forever. I want to hold something up. This is the newspaper of Progressive Labor Party. And on the back, we have an article about Boston, 1975. It was the last great struggle of the civil rights movement. At that time, there was a local violent racist group called ROAR. They had 2 members on the city council, and they were organizing hundreds of people to throw rocks through the windows, through the glass, of buses bringing black children to South Boston to integrate the school. So our party decided we're having our May Day march right in that neighborhood where they were doing that. And they attacked us and tried to stop the march, but we got the better of them, and we had a very powerful march with about 2,500 people. And we followed that up all summer, 1975, and you may get the connection. This is the 50th anniversary. We followed that up all summer, organizing against that group. They would come into into TV stations where we had someone being interviewed with clubs and attack people. It was like that all summer. But we did so much work that fall, at the beginning of the school year, in 1975 in South Boston, they could not get anybody, again, to throw rocks through the windows of those school buses. And racists around the country who wanted to emulate what Roar was doing in Boston, if they had been able to keep it up, would have been encouraged, and we would have seen much more violent racism all around the United States. But the fact that we stopped them was decisive, a very important win. And we have a lot of people in Boston this summer commemorating that struggle, 50-year commemoration. So I want to end with one more chant. And it's sort of relevant to the point that a lot of people made. Let me say it once, and then we can do it together. I still hear my brother crying, I can't breathe. Now I'm in the struggle saying, I can't leave. I still hear my brother crying, I can't breathe. Now I'm in the struggle saying, I can't leave. Once more. I still hear my brother crying, I can't breathe. Now I'm in the struggle saying, I can't leave. As Shorty would say, my check.
My
Our final speaker will be Andrew with the People's Power Assembly. I'm going to keep it real brief because I just want to tell you about next steps and the events that we've got coming up. I wanted to read WestWednesday having its 12th commemoration of Tyrone West this Friday. The gathering at 7:30. Their information is up on social media, so please check that out. We want that to be big. We're going to be there. Then on Saturday, 2 events in a row. You may have heard of the Urban Ridge Bookstore. This is a black-owned bookstore that has been under white supremacist attack, hundreds, thousands of death threats, threatening voicemails. They're holding a community walk against racism at 10 a.m. The Urban Ridge will be there too. Then stick around right after. I'm glad to raise Franz Fanon because we're going to be honoring Franz Fanon on his 100th birthday. And we're also going to be honoring the Nicaraguan Revolution, the anniversary of which is its 64th anniversary. So please join us there. Everybody get home safe. People's Power Assembly meets every Wednesday except this one. Talk to any of us if you're interested in attending. Thank you very much.
Hi. So I have a couple of announcements, and then we're going to do what we normally do during West Wednesday, which is read the names of those over the past couple of weeks that were killed across the country by police. But before I do that, I want to make a couple of announcements. There are a number of things happening this week. Another thing that's happening tomorrow is at 4 o'clock in front of Fox 45. We are having a peaceful protest. Shorty asked me to announce it. You know how Fox 45 has never reported accurately about anything in our community. How they support the current administration and do lots of things that make things worse for all of us. So if anybody can show up to protest in front of Fox 45 tomorrow, please be there. 4 o'clock, from 4 to 5. It's a short one. We're going to be peacefully protesting in front of Fox. The other thing that's happening is a little bit different. A few of us who are artists and activists are doing a free community event on Saturday at Lake Montebello underneath the pavilion. We have a bunch of communal art pieces that we're going to make as well as individual ones. It's family friendly, peaceful. Folks can make protest signs if they want, but they can also talk about what they wish for Baltimore and make art about what we wish for Baltimore, as well as about what we love about this city. This is a special city. The police can't ruin it for us, and we won't let them. So now I'm going to start our list. There are 41 names of people who were killed by police since in the dates between July 6th and July 15th.
Shame.
I'll start the first half. Let's remember, though, everyone, each of these people represents a family, a community, a group of friends, siblings. Each time the police do this, they hurt more than just one person. They hurt all of us. And this is wrong. So if you would, repeat after me these names, and I'll tell you where they're coming from. On July 6th, in Stafford, Texas, 35-year-old male, Matao Oladipo.
Matao Oladipo.
On July 6th, in Pisgah Forest, North Carolina, 30-year-old male, Raul Rivera.
Raul Rivera.
On July 6th, in San Jose, California, 37-year-old male, Kareem Khan.
Kareem Khan.
On July 7th, in Putney, Vermont, a male whose age is unknown and whose name was withheld by the police.
Cell blocks for killer cops.
Ashe. And Ashe means let it be so. On July 7th, in McAllen, Texas, 28-year-old male, Ryan Mosqueda.
Ryan Mosqueda.
On July 7th, in Brownwood, Texas, 59-year-old male, Holly Oliver.
Holly Oliver.
On July 7th, in Houston, Texas, a male whose age is unknown and whose name was again withheld by the police.
Cell blocks for killer cops.
On July 7th, in Sheridan, Oregon, another male whose age is unknown and whose name was withheld by the police.
Cell blocks for killer cops.
On July 7th, in Greenfield, Indiana, 54-year-old male, Ted Fiesel.
Ted Fiesel.
On July 8th, in Houston, Texas, 32-year-old male, Alexis Cardenas.
Alexis Cardenas.
On July 8th, in East Spencer, North Carolina, 45-year-old male, Jesse Soderstrom.
Jesse Soderstrom.
On July 8th, in Detroit, Michigan, 32-year-old male, Rakeem Wright.
Rakeem Wright.
On July 8th, in Barnesville, Georgia, a male whose unknown age, but his name was Dante Smith.
Dante Smith.
On July 8th, in Pueblo, Colorado, a male whose age is unknown and whose name was withheld by the police.
Cell blocks for killer cops.
On July 9th, in Dallas, Texas, a male whose age is unknown and again, whose name was withheld by the police.
Cell blocks for killer cops.
On July 9th, in Houston, Texas, a female, age 39, whose name was withheld by the police.
Cell blocks for killer cops.
Again on July 9th, in Jacksonville, Florida, a male, age 20, Jamari Akins.
Jamari Akins.
On July 10th, in Euless, Texas, 26-year-old male, LaDavian Pearson.
LaDavian Pearson.
On July 10th, in Silver Lake, Indiana, 65-year-old male, Dale White.
Dale White.
On July 10th, in Aventura, Florida, 36-year-old male, Troy Canada.
Troy Canada.
Also on July 10th, in Denver, Colorado, a person whose gender was unknown, age is unknown, and whose name is withheld by the police.
Cell blocks for killer cops.
Okay. Now I'll pass it on to Bill to do the rest of the list.
I just want to point out, we're reading names from a 10-day period. 41 people during that time were killed by the police.
Shame.
That means more than 4 a day.
Yeah.
Oh, to continue upholding all these people, Los Angeles, California, on July the 10th, 63 years old, James Toulouse.
James Toulouse.
In Thompson, Georgia, on the 11th, 63 years old, Arvel Gross.
Arvel Gross.
In Monroe, Louisiana. Got it, thank you. In Monroe, Louisiana, on the 12th, 44 years old, name withheld by the pig.
Cell blocks for killer cops.
Okay. In Montgomery, Alabama, 44 years old, also on the 12th, once again, name withheld by police. Oh,
Hmm?
I mixed up two, but the person whose name was held by the police this time was Corpus Christi, Texas. I'm sorry. 13, age unknown, and we already spoke up for him. Middleton, Ohio, on the 13th, 60 years old, Ronald Kerr.
Ronald Kerr.
In Center Reach, New York, on the 13th, 44 years old, Emerson Ordonez Benegas.
Emerson Ordonez Venegas.
Lexington, Kentucky, on the 13th, 47 years old, Guy House.
Guy House.
Kissimmee, Florida, on the 13th, 31 years old, Derek Rodriguez.
Derek Rodriguez.
San Jose, California, on the 13th, age unknown, name withheld by the police.
Cell blocks for killer cops.
Ashe. Guadalupe, Arizona, 13th, age unknown, again, name withheld by the pig.
Cell blocks for killer cops.
Ashe. In Whirlwind, Wyoming, on the 14th, age unknown, name withheld by the police.
Cell blocks for killer cops.
Ashe. In El Paso, Texas, on the 14th, 30 years old, Xavier Hernandez.
Xavier.
In Toledo, Ohio, on the 14th, 39 years old, Terrell Carter.
Terrell Carter.
Los Angeles, California, on the 14th, 30 years old, again, name withheld by the police.
Cell blocks for killer cops.
Ashe. In League City, Texas, on the 15th, age unknown, name withheld by police.
Cell blocks for killer cops.
Ashe. In Albuquerque, New Mexico, on the 15th, again, name withheld by the police.
Cell blocks for killer cops.
Ashe. And in Normanna Township, Minnesota, on the 15th, 57 years old, Adam Wolf.
Adam Wolf.
Fall River, Massachusetts, again on the 15th, 38 years old, Dominic Knight.
Dominic Knight.
And upcoming now is the last person we're upholding today. I apologize for slipping a little on this paper earlier. Jacksonville, Florida, on the 15th, 26 years old, Amir Bradshear.
Amir Bradshear.
All right, thank you everyone for upholding all the names. Very, very good of us all to do that.
Thank you.
Woo!
Thank you, everybody, for coming out to this West Wednesday event, and also, joined by the PPA. Once again, thank you to Wanda Jones and the West Wednesday Coalition for joining us in the struggle today and staying out in the struggle in honor of Tyrone West and all martyrs of police brutality. Power to all the martyrs of police brutality. Power to the people of Baltimore. Long live Palestine and the resistance. Long live the resistance in the streets here in Baltimore, here in LA. Long live international solidarity.